What if the real revolution begins in the heart? What if this moment on Earth is not just a turning point in history, but a turning of the tide, calling us to return to balance? As we cross the midpoint of our journey through the galactic spin, we invite you to listen deeply. The Earth is speaking. The Cosmic Mother is rising. And the question is no longer what must we do, but who must we become? Welcome to From the Heart of Earth, Rebalancing the Masculine and Feminine.
Tune in with the Galactic Spin Podcast and expand your view.
In Lakesh, and welcome to the Galactic Spin Podcast. My name is Mikuak Rai, kin 126, and I'm joined by my dear brother Ruben Llinás, kin 113. In Lakesh, and greetings, Ruben. How's it going, man?
In Lakesh, and greetings, brother Makua, and to everyone that is tuning in right now to the Galactic Spin, to this episode 26. We are arriving at the heart of our 52 episode journey, so it's such a beautiful moment and a beautiful opportunity to speak about the heart today. We are super excited about our guest tonight, and it's a really beautiful ending for these 26 episodes, so that we can rebalance the polarities as we mentioned during our last podcast. We really want to welcome that feminine energy in the next 26 episodes, and we are open to suggestions if people who are listening want to participate, or they know someone, a beautiful female voice and soul that wants to be part of this journey. We are very, very open and ready to make that happen.
Well said. We certainly extend the invitation to those in resonance out there. It's a collective work, and we're here for it. So I really want to thank Ishel Esta for that incredible opening video, the opening transmission, to really set the stage for tonight's conversation. And thank you to everybody tuning in out there across the internet, across the cybersphere, and those tuning in from the heart. There may be those who are tuning in that aren't even on their technological platform or device, but yet they're tuning in. So we welcome everyone tuning in and everyone in resonance with this transmission. And without further ado, let's go ahead and check in with the Earth's pulse and really get in sync with what's happening right now.
Yes.
Indeed, as we like to do, we like to review the events of the past 7 days here on Earth, as well as in the cosmos. And one of the significant events happened to be this partial solar eclipse from March 29th that just occurred. And I know it was a bookending of an eclipse cycle that was very, very significant. I know our guest tonight is going to tap into some of the significance of what this eclipse represents and what it's actually ushering in, that I find certainly resonant and relevant to our whole scope and purpose here. So thank you, and feel free to elaborate on what you see there on the screen.
Yes, these are images, real-time images of last eclipse from a couple of days ago, on March 29th on the Gregorian calendar. And we picked those because there is this silhouette of a dragon, and this is actually took place on the 5th day of this dragon wave spell. And these are images taken in the United Kingdom, land of the dragons. And we thought it was a really beautiful way to open this episode, so that we can appreciate that, as always, time is art. And every time that we have the opportunity to appreciate nature doing a light show for us, well, it's really an opportunity to really connect to our hearts and appreciate life and the mysteries and the beauty that it holds. And this eclipse was preceded by also major solar activity. We have a next flare on March 28th, that really big explosion on the farther limb of the sun that fortunately was not Earth directed, but it really was felt on the Earth. And as we can see, it was precisely on that same day, March 28th, when we had this unfortunate event in Myanmar. Over 2,900 people lost their lives in this major movement of 7.7 says here the note from the Watchers website. And as we can see also on the table on the right, this is the top 5 earthquakes in the last 60 days. And we notice that in these last 60 days, the last week of March holds the top 5. So that means that this energetic shift from this window was released or felt on the Earth, basically at the closing of this solar moon of intention that we are closing. That was holding this eclipse window that started on day 8 of the solar moon, Kin 250, March 13, 14, really. So it was Kin 249 lunar moon and Kin 250 electric dog, the last wave spell or the last 13-day cycle of the Solkin, and was closed on March 29, the 23rd day of this solar moon, on Kin 5, the red overtone serpent. And in between, as we mentioned on our last couple of episodes, we had the equinox, we have the Venus-Earth conjunction, the emergence of Venus as morning star, signaling that moment when Venus emerges before the sun, and with the start of this galactic spin 5 days ago. So this is certainly, we have been feeling it in our own lives, and this has been a very charged and very transformational window. We hope that everyone tuning in right now was able to connect with the Earth, to connect with their own hearts, and really set the intention, because this is what this entire moon, the solar moon of intention, is all about, to really connect with our purpose, reconnect with that initial intention or purpose that was holding the magnetic moon. And now we are just really ready to integrate everything that happened and really nurture ourselves. This is the purpose of this entire 13-day cycle of the dragon that we are navigating.
Nurturance, yeah, that's right. So with that, why don't we go ahead and tune in and sync in and tune up, as we like to do every time, just to really get a sense. Now we have a sense of where we are in space. We want to really get a sense of where we are in time. Right on.
Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118,
Untried, as we like to do every episode, we really tap in with where we are in time. And as you can see on the screen, this is a cover of our 13 moon 28-day harmonic synchronometer. We're in the year referred to as New Sirius Cycle 1.37. Lots of significance to that number, but you can certainly listen to some previous episodes for some of the insights about the golden angle, for example. But this also orients us in the year called the Blue Rhythmic Storm year. Organization, balance, transformation, energy, self-generation, lots of layers of quality really infused in this current year cycle. And we're just as of today in the last heptad of the solar moon. And maybe you want to speak on that, Ruben, and where this finds us in the wave spell of the 13 moons.
Yeah, let's remember that the 13 moons is a hologram of the 13-day cycle called a wave spell. In this case, it's called the planetary service wave spell, in which every moon we have the opportunity to work on ourselves and ask ourselves different questions. So as we can see, where we see the green squares is where the energy shifts during the years, where the spiral makes its turn. And the ninth moon is connected with the fifth moon and the first moon, the magnetic moon. And so this is really a moon to reconnect with our purpose and with the original intention set at the beginning of the year, so that we can bring that energy up and to the center, so that the spiral keeps moving upwards, and we move with that energy towards the next moon, which is going to be the planetary moon. And we are going to see a little bit more about it at the end of this section. Why is it so important, this entrance, and why is a moment of new beginnings? But yes, this is the closing of this ninth moon that was also coded on a fractal count of 260 moons, which is the equivalent of 20 years of 13 moons each, to complete a matrix of 260 moons, as we complete every 260 days one matrix of gestation, of the human gestation, of the cycle of human gestation. Every 260 moons, we complete that same hologram. And this entire moon that we are closing was the moon coded with the yellow solar sun. And we were already revising and recapitulating all the solar activity that it's really serving as a signature of the powerful energy that we experience in this solar moon. Let's remember also that this solar moon of intention is connected with the purpose of this entire wave spell of 13 moons, that has the human, the energy of the human, the free will. So moon 1 was the purpose of this entire year, and now we connect with the intention. We have been asking ourselves during this entire ninth moon, or how do we, or do I, attain our purpose? So this is really a way to every week of this moon, and now that we are closing it, to have that meditation, how we can connect with our original purpose, and how can we manifest in the next moon that purpose that is going to be the planetary moon of manifestation. So in this, as we can see in this chart, we are at the center of the last heptad, or the last week of this moon, which is also coded by a kin. There is a fractal count of 260 weeks, as we have a fractal count of 260 moons at 260 days. And this entire week is the week of the yellow planetary sun, kin 140, closing a cycle of 20 weeks or 20 heptads that started right at the start of the overtone moon. Let's remember that every moon has 4 perfect weeks of 7 days each. So in 5 moons, we transited that central axis of the Solkin matrix, a Solkin matrix comprised by 260 weeks. Let's remember that each year has 52 weeks or heptads, and that means that we complete 260 heptads in 5 years. So we are at the center of that 5-year threshold, and we are closing that central column. And on the 260-day cycle, as we can see on the next slide, we are starting a new galactic spin that goes from kin 1 to kin 13. Every one of these cycles is coded by the tone and the seal that has the same number as the kin. So basically, kin 1 is tone 1, seal 1, kin 2 is seal 2, tone 2. So today we are on the 777, kin 7, tone 7, seal, solar seal number 7. And we are at the heart of this entire 13-day cycle that we started 7 days ago, and that is bringing us the opportunity to be reborn and to really connect with that mother energy, the birth, the nurturing. And as we can see on the next slide, this entire cycle will close on December 12th, Gregorian of 2025. And we have the basically 255 days ahead of us to be reborn. So this entire window that we just closed, the window of transformation, is really giving us the opportunity to reconfigure ourselves from scratch and to really let go of layers of unconsciousness that have been operating for years on a collective and individual levels. And we will see what this gestation period of 260 days will bring us at the end of this Gregorian year on December 9th. This is the 54th, as we can see on the background, this is the 54th Solkin cycle since the start of the new time. And in the next slide, we can see how this entire cycle is also filled with powerful events like the Venus emergence as morning star. In a couple of days, we will close 18 Solkins of 260 days since the Venus transit of 2012. This Venus transit only, which is for those people who are new and don't know, is the moment when Venus, our closest neighbor, passes in front of the solar disk. That only happens once every 113 years. And we have the next one will happen in actually December 10th, which is one day after, like the next kin 1 will be December 10th. And that Venus transit will happen in the year 2117. None of us will probably here on Earth, but it's a really beautiful way to reconnect with that energy of being reborn, because that's what the Venus as morning star represents, our opportunity to die and be reborn again. And on day 11, we will also celebrate 121 Solkin spins from the birth of Jose Arguelles, Balloon Botan, who brought all these codes to us and who we give thanks for his work and his legacy. And that will mark the start of the planetary moon of manifestation. And as we can see on the next slide, this entire moon that is coming is coded by the red planetary dragon, which is a double dragon energy, because we are in the dragon waste belt. And in the next slide, we can see that it also starts with the red spectral dragon heptad, which is what we see in the two squares in green. Is basically we are entering the planetary dragon moon on a spectral dragon heptad to close or to enter on the 11th day of the dragon waste belt. That's 3 dragons. So we are being reborn. That's why I'm saying we are being reborn from scratch. And we can see also how the numbers speak about the harmony embedded in this event. We can see that day 1 of this 10th moon will be kin 11 and will be coded by the heptad that is coded by tone 11 and kin 1. So that's, and seal 1. So that's how we can see that number 1 appearing as let's remember that 10 is the opposite or the mirror of 0, 1. And we have the kin coding this entire moon being kin 101, 101, that mirror game of 101. So that's a beautiful way of really see through the numbers and through the energies how this is really a very, very powerful window to nurture ourselves, to give, so that we can incubate or give birth to the new. We have that energy of the dragon, which is really the energy of the mother, the energy of the primordial waters, which is what the dragon represents.
Mm-hmm. I also wanted to mention that in the current moon that we're wrapping up now, we have that overlay or that magnification of the sun, just as we have the magnification of the dragon coming up. We're currently right now under the magnification of the sun. Even today, like being in this heptad informed by planetary sun, then we move to planetary dragon, right? It's a very interesting exchange as we see that. And we know that sun and dragon always intersect in the circuitry, right, of the Zolkin. But I think it's important to just mention just the power of, as we said, the moon is coded by the solar sun, and this last heptad that we're currently in the center of is coded by that planetary sun. It's very, very powerful.
Yeah, very beautiful.
Very illuminating, we can think,
And elegant.
And elegant, absolutely elegant. Well, this is all very timely, I would say, just given the fact that with all of these coordinates, all these codes, what's becoming more and more evident and what is being called for more, it seems, is really the acknowledgement of the fact that this is an inside job, what's happening. We're seeing these codes, they're giving us inferences and indicators of things that might appear external, but in fact, these are from the inside of us. Like we're actually seeing the coding displayed and we're being invited to do the work inside. The purpose of making these codes conscious, for example, is to help us participate consciously in the shift, right? So as people are seeing the codes on the screen and that kind of thing, I really do want to invite them to take their time with discovering what that and how that may resonate with you yourself. We want to invite you to go to our website, theharmonicfactor.com, and download a copy of the 13 month or 13 moon 28 day synchronometer for the year, the current year. And we'll actually be releasing the New Year's version. We have a new year coming up as of the end of July Gregorian calendar. So we're in the preparation for the new synchronometer as well, so that you can keep the frequency and the beat with us as we continue on the path to the golden intersection of timelines. As we've said, today is a very significant posit because it's the very center of the 52-week or 52 heptad episode series and ceremony. We really want to thank those who've been tuning in with us all along, and even those just tuning in right now. Thank you for joining this field of intention.
Yes.
As we wrap up the moon of intention, it's important to say that, and we enter the moon of manifestation. So this is a very precious moment to clarify our intention as we inform what will manifest in the days to follow and over the moon to follow. So knowing, as you were saying, that that's a time that's inviting us to go within and nurture ourselves. And I think particularly as we get into this conversation of the masculine feminine balance, as men, we need to be more deliberate about nurturing ourselves. I think that's one thing where if we are neglecting that, then it's going to reflect in our experience, you know. And whether you have a family or you have responsibilities or any of the various things that we as humans are required to tend to in the course of our lives, we also want to be still and be patient and invite ourselves to really go within at this time so that we can get the proper alignment, the proper coordinates, the proper instruction on how to show up and to get better informed on who it is we are becoming or who we're invited to become at this most auspicious time. It's a very potent time of creation. So certainly with that, if you have any thing to wrap up with that, or we can move forward in our Time as Art section and bring on our guest. But I think that it's powerful, and thank you for always helping us orient to where we are in the time frequencies.
Sure, brother. No, I actually, I just want to give today more time to hear our guests, because I think we can all learn a lot, and especially now that we are closing this 26 cycle of the masculine, and we have had a lot of masculine voices here. We want to really open the space for in that receptive space in this container, that this virtual container, for that feminine energy to come in, and we give thanks for that, and we are sure that in the coming episodes we will hear more feminine voices, and we will be more receptive and learn how to work years and years and years of a patriarchal paradigm that we are still carrying the unconscious, and we are still working out, and we are still losing our patience, and we are still wanting to, in a way, conquer or go outside and use that masculine energy to achieve things. But sometimes we really need to be still, and really be receptive, so that feminine energy can really enter our hearts.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. With that said, time is art.
Yes.
Indeed, in Lakesh, our dear brother Kumara. Yes, indeed. Ken 148, welcome to the Galactic Spin Podcast. It's truly an honor to have you here. I feel like this has been a meeting in the making for who knows how long, but certainly our connection when we first encountered each other in New York City several years ago is just in perfect sync with everything that's happening now and continues to happen. So on behalf of the Harmonic Factor, thank you. We're so appreciative to have you here today.
Thank you for having me. Can you hear me?
Absolutely. You sound perfect.
Okay, good. Well, it's a big honor to be on your show. We've talked about this, I think, for quite some time, even back then when I first moved to Edmonton. And I had, I think at that time I was interviewing Drunvalo at the time. And we had a really deep discussion about that on how things move forward from that point. And really, the sacred masculine infused with a sacred feminine, it meant not pushing for it, but looking forward to it,
Mm.
right? There's a really, really distinct difference when we are in our sacred feminine to really honor how the divine flow may happen and may unfold, because the old way is so structured, it's square, it has to fit in the box.
Mm.
And in essence, there is no box, right? So when people say, oh, you think outside the box, not necessarily what box, right? Right. There's a time and place and space for certain shapes, and certainly the shape of the spiral and the golden mean into the golden age is here,
Mm.
right here, right now.
Wow.
So you are
Amazing.
teaching me even more about, the kin 126, the 113, the 148. And I know I have some of my people listening in, and they probably, some of them, highly likely, they know a little bit about it, but not as extensive as you. So if you can give some context to them, if, even just a
Sure.
couple of minutes, thank you.
Oh, no, but thank you. Yeah, for those tuning in, when we say kin, what we're talking about is the number according to your date of birth, your first breath, you might say. And there are 260 different potentialities. And each one of us are born into one of those potentialities. The 260 count is referred to as the Zolkin count, or sacred count of days. And it was part of the calendrical, or is part of the calendrical system of the traditional Maya. It's one of the multiple calendars, but it's a very significant one in the fact that it's considered the harmonic module. So it's the one through, as we explained earlier, with the 260 different fractal layers, whether it's days, weeks, months, it's one that applies, and you can see basically both macro and micro reflected. And then if you, for example, as Kumara, happen to be kin 148, then where that number shows up in a recurring pattern for you, it helps you hone in on a synchronicity. It's an anchor for synchronicity. It's a point of reference for you. And now with that number, it comes with a code. It comes with a name. The ones that we speak of are particularly transmitted through the galactic lens, or the galactic Maya lens. And so we would say, for example, you're the yellow overtone star. That's new language in many ways, like the idea of the overtone star. It's an indicator of the quality and the purpose of your particular signature, which relates to radiance, empowerment, commanding radiance, empowerment for the purpose of art and elegance and beautification. So when we hear or receive the interpretation of our respective signatures, then we can resonate on a personal level how that shows up in our lives and how it helps illuminate our purpose. So everybody has what is called a galactic signature, or the sign of nature. When we look at the word signature, you can break that down as nature's sign or signature. So again, it's a frequency that you embody upon your first breath. And if people would like to decode their galactic signature, they can visit a fantastic website, the mother site of a lot of this information, lawoftime.org. And you'll find in the upper menu there at that website, lawoftime.org, or 13moon.com, another great website where you can also decode your galactic signature. We invite people to do that so they at least get that indicator. Once you do learn your signature, it's, in a sense, it's like you are getting enrolled, in a way, in the consciousness of your galactic nature. It may not make sense to your mind, right, your rational mind. It's not intended to. It's encoding that's intended to help you come alive, and I would even say from the heart, because it's correlated with the spark of creation that brought you here. As a snapshot of what that looks like, there are 13 different tones and 20 different solar seals. And so when you combine those 13 and 20, you get 260 possibilities. So in other words, everybody is a combination of tone and seal. So in your case, as I mentioned, you're the 5 tone, the overtone. Both Ruben and I happen to be the solar tone, which relates to the number 9. So this also provides the sense that language, or numbers rather, communicate essence and meaning more than just being used to calculate, right? They are expressing qualitative essence of a number. Okay. And so again, that shows up as a frequency. But
Yeah,
yeah.
and
Thank you.
I will add a couple of cents there, in which the 13 tones are frequencies of sound, and they are kind of feminine in nature. They represent movement, and the 20 seals are masculine, are solar seals, are frequencies of light, and they represent measure. So both are connected to the frequencies of creation, in the sense that the difference between the 20 and the 13 is 7, which is the cycle of creation. And those 260 possibilities that are framed within the Tzolk'in, the Galactic Spin is also one of the names, which is the inspiration for the name of this podcast, and the harmonic module, which is the other name, is really a representation of 260 arrangements of those tones and seals or frequencies, so that each one has like a pitch or a melody that impregnates us when we are born. This is why we to calculate our galactic signature, we don't need a geographical point or a time of day within the mechanical clock, because it's really a frequency or a pulse that was present the day we were born, and that is impregnated in our DNA. We hold that frequency. We are frequency containers. It's like, imagine like an orchestra or 260 possibilities or instruments, and we are that instrument. Our bodies are those instruments to create that melody, that arrangement of 260 possibilities.
Yeah, and just to say with that, when we see you are kin 148, we can observe a synchronicity, because in Ruben's array, or what was called the Fifth Force Oracle for his signature, you show up as his hidden power. And the reverse is true. He shows up as yours. So when we see your number, for example, then we can identify based on that arrangement the meaningful alignment that's actually expressing itself in reality. It's just we're also identifying the fact that these things are encoded in us, and now we're seeing how it's expressed in the creative, array before us that we're experiencing. Yeah, so they are. It's a powerful language base in the sense that once you appreciate the qualitative meaning of the numbers, as Ruben described, both the masculine and feminine qualities, you see how they play together with frequency coherence, essentially, and how that expresses. It becomes a very enlivened experience. And it also taps us into telepathy. That's another thing about this, is it actually sensitizes us to our telepathic nature, which also then avails us to a telepathic communication with the planet itself on that level. And we talk about something called the noosphere and the Bank. Well, the codes of our signatures also show up similarly in the mind of Earth. And so as we begin to make these things more conscious to us, and we can see the patterns of the recurring synchronizations underway, it lines us up on an inner plane with that proper orientation to what's happening here in this transforming, ever-shifting material plane. So if that helps, hopefully that provides some clarity or insight. Oh, thank you. And it's also a very personal journey, I would say, because when somebody is decoded or learns their galactic signature, it's going to ignite or activate something in them. And it is usually begins as a resonance, like, oh, that I feel that, or I see myself, or I reflect that. I can relate to that affirmation or that statement, for example, connected to a galactic signature.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks for that explanation.
Well, thank you. And I wanted to ask you, in fact, just given your extensive work, firstly, tell us where you're located right now, because I know, as I mentioned earlier, we met in New York, but I know you're based in Canada. But for our listeners,
Yeah. Yeah, based in Canada, and to honor the sacred lands of the Nihiao, the Cree, and the Siksikaitsitapiskaku is the Blackfoot. And I have very strong alliances with the both the elders as well as the youth who are actually rising in their own power and their own sovereignty, and their memories are actually intact.
Mm,
So when I moved here, I thought, wow, this is it's almost like a dream come true because it felt like I came home. I
okay.
went east of the Rockies, and it was actually Adil who said, "Hey, are you willing to move out and kind of like hang out with my family?" I'm like, "Sure, okay." I was having a lot of dreams back then about some great flood, and something told me go east of the Rockies. I'm like, "Okay." So here I am, and little did I know, within 2 weeks of my arrival, there was a community around me. I thought, wow, this is like people are different here. I
Mm,
think they're just more activated. There's something underneath these lands. The city of Edmonton apparently sits on top of a huge crystal bed. Someone said, "Oh, there's a ship under here." I'm like, I wouldn't doubt
yeah,
it.
crystal ship. Man.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow. Wow.
yeah.
That,
It's a place of activation. It's like it's all. It feels like the second to Sedona, but in a way, it's very understated because there's a misnomer about the oil country, right? But there's always duality in nature. So the more intense something is, if it seems dark or if it's projected to darkness towards it, there's also an equal light that is also projected but is unknown. And that's why people are feeling, oh, what is that? Well, it's not only coming from the earth, it's also coming from the sun. That is actually it's actually maturing into the full helium state. And we're feeling it. Apparently, John Vallo told me in 1972, at the end of 72, it was full hydrogen and it started to transform. It's going into the blue sun. So it's a dying sun. It's going to take another few million years or a billion to fully go out, and likely another one will be born. It's really interesting because that's what multidimensionality is, and that's why when we tune into the heart, we we balance the sacred feminine that resides within it. And Ruben, you probably know about some of John Vallo's earlier works of the tiny space of the heart, which contains all of the cosmos. Well, it's hard. It's really difficult to translate that into regular English or Earth language. It's experiential. So that's why when I take people on the journey through the School of the Heart, that's where I'm certified from, out of Cyprus. Uh, you go into your pineal gland intentionally, you go down your spine, you go into your physical heart, you find that doorway, you cross the doorway, you turn around and shut that portal or door because only you are to be in there because you are your unique code. It's not to be messed with. So once you are in there, the instruction is see, sense, and feel the very subtle energies that actually reside in there. And because we are so used to feeling the gross sensations like a slap on the wrist or a nudge with through an elbow or a slap on the face, you really feel that. But the most subtle energies are actually the most powerful. We have to learn to listen, and that's what that sacred feminine is all about. And that's why typically I usually don't talk a lot. I'm feeling more, but that's the art of allowing as well. So when we allow for the energies to come through you instead of bounce off of you, you become a very useful vessel, not only for your own body because it's healing, but also for those who are around you, your spouse or partner, your family, your children, your community. your nation, and then it expands. It's actually endless. It's the star nation then that actually starts to arrive. When we learn these very ancient techniques, not only techniques, but knowledge, just like the star knowledge that you have been sharing for quite a number of years already. And what I was trained in is a very ancient technique. Well, when we say very ancient compared to the timeline of our bodies, what we understand what age is, what 1 year is. If we're using the Gregorian timeline, we measure it in, it's a 40 to 60,000 year old technique called heart imagery. The first bipeds on the planet, also known as man, woman, they used heart imagery to create things that is needed to produce food out of nothing. It's from thought and feeling. So feelings create the reality. And again, and the where energy kind of veers off is when we think something into reality. It could happen. It's like, if you want abundance, I tell my friends this, you have to be very specific about abundance, right? Because if you are asking for abundance, well, if you're feeling, let's say, sadness in the moment, if you're feeling dismayed or alone or dejected, you're going to get an abundance of that. So you say abundance of, and then the word, and it's so the word, as within, so throughout. It's whatever's inside us that we're feeling, that's what we make manifest. It's the feeling. But we have to be specific. So we have to retrain ourselves.
Can we talk a little bit about feeling and about receptivity? Because what you're talking about sounds to me like one has to be receptive, which also is a feminine quality, right?
Yes, it is.
So
that's receiving. Yeah.
For the receptivity of the orientation to the heart, for example, or the receptivity in the ability to be sensitive to the subtle energy once you are present in the heart, for example. But talk a little bit about that, because I think that's one of the areas that many men, I'll speak for myself, how do I become more receptive when, I'm in my day-to-day roles and activities and requirements and obligations, just moving through life, as it were. What can we do as men or people generally to become more receptive so that we can get oriented in our lives as well, bring that into our experience then, so the experience isn't driving the other way around, if that makes sense.
Fine tune your inner resonance.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So there are many ways you can do it, and I would say the most easy way is even just say om, or just hum, right? So just like a mother does for a child, is they hum. It's the language of vibration and a resonance, really. So then we start activating ourselves because it's listening. So water is such a very, very powerful live element. It can transform. It has the fourth phase as well, which is in between liquid and a solid. It's like it's a gel phase, really.
I think we lost you, your audio there a little bit.
Hello?
Okay. There we go. You're back. Yeah.
It fades, so pardon me. I don't know what's going on, but
Oh, that's good. We hear you.
John Vallo said this is normal for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a normal that's going on and then no matter what happens, is never panic. It's like when I almost went into a fatal car crash about 5 days ago, when my car careened off the highway in a snowstorm. I was doing heart imagery. The human side said, "Oh shit," But inside, I felt I am, I trust.
Yeah. Your soul, the soul
I'm
side.
if I'm going home,
Hmm.
I look forward to going home, right?
Yeah.
Not a scratch on the car.
Hmm.
I was not injured. There was a pole it was heading for a pole, and my hands did something, and there was no scratch.
Wow.
I thought the right side of the car would get all banged up. It took 16 hours for the tow truck to come, but even in that time, I was constantly doing heart imagery. It's sending love to self, knowing that our bodies are mostly water, and we don't only observe water, but water is observing us. So when here's one of the things that I can answer you to is when we shun somebody or when we project an emotion towards someone because they made us feel this way. Well, we made ourselves feel that way. They didn't. We're just reacting to it. So when we are projecting towards them, whatever that is, the water inside our body is listening. There could be even like passengers in there that's listening. So may just be unconditional love, and that's it. Love with no condition. That I would say in a big sense is a divine feminine energy. That's how I can translate it from regular English or earth language, is you just find the love in everything that happens. Find the inner love. If you don't feel love, it's somewhere. You just got to find it. And it's in a very quiet place. That's why breathing is so good for you. It respirates. When I went to New York, I went to the concert. I forgot that band. He's a Japanese fellow, plays violin, and they got this NASA images, and then they showed how Earth breathes during the winter. You could see the snow, cover, and then it recedes in the spring, and it keeps doing this back and forth. You could see Earth breathing. It's amazing. And there's something called the Birkeland currents. Have you heard of that? So the Birkeland currents is from the nodes of a positive, negative poles of the Earth, and it actually, that toroid is that donut looking thing, that the Birkeland currents are actually faster than light. It's quantum. And so when we attune to that, when that knowledge comes in and we go into our heart, we then start to infuse the toroidal field from our third eye, and then it generates a bigger toroidal field around us called the Leonardo sphere. You probably know about that too. The Leonardo sphere is actually tied to the flower of life, the source of life. Did I tell you about the sphere that has been placed on January 1st, 2025 around the Earth?
No, I wanted you to talk about that, and also in relationship to the recent partial solar eclipse, because I know we talked about that sort of as a stepping up process that also included this eclipse that just passed.
Yes. That when Drinval called me a couple of weeks ago, he said, hey, the blood moon is coming. It's important for women to meditate, not necessarily men, but on the 29th, it's very important that men do this as well as women. It's the sacred balancing. And he said the 29th is the first official day of the golden age. And then so I started this meditation stint for 30 days. This morning was the 3 out of 30. And then he said, when I told him what I was doing, he goes, I'm really excited with what's going on. Please report back to me, because I'm excited. I'm happy about what's about to happen. And he said, you can go beyond 30 days, you got 6 months. And then when I told you that, you said, hey, there's something going on in 6 months. The convergence of the three sacred calendars.
The golden intersection of timelines, exactly. Yeah.
So it's like, I can't make that stuff up.
Nope.
So there's all these layers of convergence, and it's like, how can you deny that?
Exactly.
Did I explain that well? Did I? I hope I
Oh, yeah, I think so.
got on track. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Well, and as you were saying, that energy initiated at the beginning of this Gregorian year. That was kind of
Yes.
directing the energy. And then once we arrived to this eclipse window, the door is open, basically. It
It's
sounds
open.
like it's open.
It's open.
So we're stepping into the room. And it's interesting that that the instruction was for the women to meditate in the blood moon. And then 2 weeks later, it would be everyone encouraged to meditate with you. And Ishel and I have been honored to participate in the meditation the past couple of days. So it's truly important time for that, which is also, I think, one of the things informing the theme tonight, especially about the rebalancement of masculine and feminine. That's a theme that's come up organically for us in this work, in holding this space and creating this container. And we do it in collaboration and relationship with our partners, our life partners, Ishel and Alejandra, and altogether we create 260. So when we talk about the kin numbers, then altogether we actually create the entire unit of 260 days, right? So then we have been in this container guided to orient ourselves and this work toward the cosmic mother. In giving it a name, as you say in English, it's hard to even call the realities. How do you sum them up in words? It's very difficult to do. But that's what we've landed on at this point, is observing relationship with the cosmic mother. And how is that expressed in the calling coming up organically for men at this time? Because a lot of what is in the noise of the mayhem and the mainstream, it seems to me that men are being urged more into the head and away from the heart. So in that contrast, as we're seeing everybody driving in the technology and the achievement and the various ways it seems to be expressing, that also seems to be negligent as it relates to being more sensitive to the earth itself. So where are we as men in the planetary society and the planetary culture as it relates to that relationship with earth? That's kind of one of the things I was intending that we could begin to talk about here in this space. And I thought, who better than you to help also guide that conversation with men, as I know you've done a fair share of coaching with men and leading men's groups as well.
Mm-hmm.
And as you mentioned the heart imagery, I wanted to ask, would this be a good time to explore a little bit of that with you, that we could look into that? And I wanted to also ask if Ruben has any questions or comments before we move into this sharing of the heart imagery practice.
I'm learning to be receptive and really go into that feeling mode, so that I'm absorbing everything that you are sharing. And thank you so much, Brother Kumara, for your wisdom. And please continue.
Right on. I'll pull this up then, Kumara, and we'll move through a couple of images here of your heart imagery process.
Yes. So heart imagery, again, it's a 40 to 60,000 year old technique that is used to heal, create, and just build in resonance without causing harm to self or others. And you can go to the next one. It's the language of the whole world, and it helps you find yourself. And in imagery, you see, sense, and feel, like I said earlier, and seeing not in the sense that you analyze, but you just observe. And mastering the imagery techniques gives a deeper insight to the subtle experiences and to find your inner light, like I mentioned earlier as well. It's also translated as inner sound. It could be inner color. Like this type of sensation returns us to becoming sacred again, which means life-giving rather than life-taking. You become a childlike consciousness, and then you don't have, so there's no more such thing as fear. That's why children don't have fear, right? They're very honest about their feelings. They just let it out. They're not fearful of how they're going to be unloved if they tell the truth. And so it's an invitation that of our inner senses to become our best friend, rather than, oh, it's just a voice in my head. That's a very male or masculine old Iron Age way of thinking and feeling. And however you see however you see yourself, it's always just to keep it simple. And the energy of the feeling of the energy is actually just showing you. So if you feel, hey, you know what, I feel like just taking a breath. The old way is, no, just push through it, even though you have a flu. It's like, no, you rest. It's time to rest. Take care of yourself. Go for a spa, that kind of thing. So forward. And this is a visual of the natural way that our heart sees. It actually sees in the vertical rather than us seeing things in a horizontal perspective, because our eyes are always seeing horizontally. So, and our heart sees vertically. So that's why that vertical, that Kundalini, there's also that Christ oil can actually secrete from our pineal gland down to the root chakra and ascend it again. And that's, there's different techniques like retention and stuff, but that's another show. It's a long explanation. But this is a quick way, is you just go straight into your heart. And then you'll feel tingles. You might feel an itch somewhere. And when I took Vipassana, that was part of the training. If you feel pain on the left side, just observe it. Don't try and shift yourself. Just stay still and breathe through it. And don't run away from it and going to the good feeling side of the body.
Anicca.
Right? Anicca.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, metta. So you can move forward. So this is a clue. This is the Pharaoh pose. So when we're doing heart imagery, you sit on a chair with your hands on your lap face down. Or if you have armrest, you want to keep yourself very relaxed, your feet flat on the ground. So there's a clue right there. That's why this image is there. So you can go forward. And you can talk into this one, because I can't really read that one, because you explain things really good on this.
Well, thank you. I know you had an image of Rudolf Steiner, the founder of anthroposophy and the anthroposophical movement, who I think has been very much a forebear of what we're now experiencing directly and making more conscious, in that we're in this time he predicted essentially and spoke about relative to the dynamic between the supersensible and the overly material, and the transition that we would be going through, the initiation of the planet itself in our process in helping this planet evolve. And so relative to this, he also spoke of the Christ impulse and how that was permeated throughout the entirety of creation at this time, and that everything has been affected by that. It's accessible in that regard. And so there's a lot with that, but anthroposophy itself, meaning the science of spirit, for example, and one of his great books for folks who would like to learn more is How to Know Higher Worlds. And this is, again, about sensitizing ourselves, being receptive and in tuned and available for the communication, if you will, and the information exchange that the higher worlds are waiting to give us, should we raise our vibration enough or become receptive enough to actually receive it.
So eloquently put.
Well, thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
excited about this one. This one is incredible.
Okay, so when I after I was certified as a heart imagery teacher, I had to download one time, come up with this tea, just have a rose gold tea. So I put together a tea that I was inspired, a tea that I was drinking with our brother Adil one time, and then I remember the flavor, but I could not explain what that flavor was because it was in my heart. So I developed this tea blend that has rose Bulgarian essential oil in a base of 13-year-old fermented pu'er, organic, and licorice root, as well as royal tulsi. And then I put 24 karat gold. There was flakes. So, and then I would actually macerate that and turn it a few times. I would stir it while I was meditating, and then I'd taste it, and I'm like, it took literally between 3 and 4 months for me to find that flavor that was in my heart. I thought, that's the one. So then I started serving that during my heart imagery training that I conduct at the tea house that I work from part time, because it's like my dharma. I don't do this for popularity or money. I just love people popping open. And when they take their first sip, they're like, "Oh my God." I'm like, "Yeah, the God in you
Yeah, you got
is
it.
lighting up, right?" So what better is there a time to serve, rose tea, which is a very ancient flower. That's why when we smell it, there's something we can't explain. Combine it with gold. Well, serve it for the golden age. Why not, right? So yeah. So like I said, I'll gift you some.
Wow, I can't wait to pop open having that experience. I'm sure
Yeah,
that will be a catalyst.
and I also combine that too when I have you've heard of Agenolite?
I think so. That name is familiar.
So there was this box that a friend of mine had, and it flashes in front of your pineal gland.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I can program it. So I went
Yes.
for advanced training down in California last September.
Wow.
And then I've developed it further. I serve this tea, put them through the light, and with that light, I do a sound experience at the same time. And I developed a zero gravity chair with transducers in it, so they can feel what they're seeing and hearing.
Wow.
So it's a full immersion experience. And I'm like, wow, I like the way just like, because I'm a bit of a tech geek. I do my own mechanics on my car, do my own improvements. I thought, well, how do I make this better? Right? I don't want to buy one. I could buy one, but then I can't customize it. So why would I want to customize it? That if someone asks me, it's because everyone is different.
Mm. Mm.
So if a client comes in, I talk to them first. That's more than half of it already.
Yeah.
Is being heard.
Yes.
Right? And that is, I'm receiving what they cannot express. But until they sit down with me, they express it to me, then I program the box, and then I put them through an experience. And quite often they're like, "Oh my God, like, was there shrooms in the tea?" I'm like, "Nope, it came from the light. That's your inner light." And they said, "How many colors do you have in that box?" And I said, "It's just white light. That white light has a particular frequency code that activates your pineal gland. So that rainbow stuff that you're seeing, that's you." And
right.
They're like, "Oh my God." So when I do come down to where you are in California, I think in October, I'll bring my stuff down because it's mobile. And you watch. It's fun to do, and it's fun to watch people watching.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Just to hear you describe it is like transferring a sense of wow, what's happening there? Like wowza, like we said earlier.
Wowza.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the tea portion. There's a lot of portions. So
yeah, that's good though. Thank you so much for taking us on this journey. And I want to invite now, maybe we talk a little bit. You've mentioned Drunvalo a couple of times.
Yes.
But for folks who may be meeting you for the first time, share a little bit of the backstory of your experience with Drunvalo Melchizedek. And also, I know Ruben has his own experience as well, having been a student of Drunvalos in years before. So I think it's just a powerful synchrony that we're able to share some of that right now also.
Well, when Adil had me placed on unify.org as the director of operations in 2018 to 2019, I had some free time. So I said yes. I said, "I don't know if I can do that." He said, "You have the qualities. You can do it." He had full trust in me, and I had fun. And he said, "You know what? I have to go to Spain, but we have to go see Drunvalo." I'm like, that's my dream to meet the guy. I've taken Awakening the Illuminated Heart twice already, and I love all his books, read all his books. And then he said, "I won't be there for the first few days." He goes, "I don't know if I can make it now. Can you just hold the fort?" And I'm like, no, you made a deal. You're coming. Fine, go to Spain first, but then come. But that while he was gone, I guess it gave a chance. I'm usually really quiet. So Drenvalo and his wife Claudette, they said there's something about that guy. So it was Daniel Mittel who actually told me what they said, because they said it to him. They didn't tell me. So, and it was during 2018 December, and that was on December 2nd for my birthday. So we were there for a week, and working with them and doing a project. We were doing a whole bunch of stuff throughout the whole week, and that's when they got to know. I guess they felt my energy, and then there was a kinship, just like us. And there was a time where we lost contact. I think it was during COVID. And at the tail end of COVID, we called each other up again, and it hasn't stopped. So he was always updating me on, he goes, Volume 3, it's coming out. I'm so excited. And for the whole 4 to 5 years, it hasn't still. He keeps getting snagged, and he got almost haggard about it. Like he was getting tired early, but now he's like a little kid again. He has a lot of life to him because he's so happy and excited for what's going on. He goes, I got to stick around for this. Because sometimes before he would say, I don't know how much time I got left here. I'm like, you can't go yet. You can't go yet.
Not yet.
You're part of this show.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
I'm holding you to it.
Wow.
So that's when he told me about this thing that got placed around the earth. And I didn't even know. He revealed to me lately that the Christ or light grid that's commonly known now, that he was told to install that when he was traveling around back in 1981. And he said people started tapping into it without knowing what it was. And he said, wow, I didn't even know why I put that there. And so he had a deeper understanding. And then he told me about how, he's got all this knowledge, but then he has no one to share it with. And because I'm so receptive, I just listen and I don't judge it. I'm like, that's cool. That's cool, Drew. Like, tell me more, right? And then quite often he can't get off the phone. And sometimes he'll phone me. I'm like, I'm at work. Can I call you back later? And he's like, wait a minute. One more thing. And so, he can't get him off the phone because he's so excited.
Yeah.
So I thought that's the kind of excitement I want to live into my 80s, because he's in his 80s, right?
Yes.
And he looks young for 80s. So that's us in a nutshell. And he'd actually tell me, oh, you know what? I told you some stuff, but don't tell everyone yet. It's going to go through publishing and editing. And then he got to the point where he goes, you know what? I'm not scared. Just people have to know. I love them so much.
Wow.
I want them to know. So you go and tell them. I'm like, oh, okay. In due time. And then so I kind of like, I get the nudges. Say this now. If I mean to say something and something interrupts it, I'll tune in. I'll tune in. Is that interference or is it divine flow?
Yeah.
So on a daily basis, I actually connect to Divine Mother, because Divine Mother is now it's like the cosmos consciousness heart. I call it. I don't even know what to call it, but it's a heartbeat that does beat, and it does synchronize. If we allow it to the reception of her heartbeat, then we can connect with all life. Kind of like the mycelium network, right?
Yeah.
That's how it functions. It's like, wow, this is wild. And then so there was a council that actually, Drenvalo didn't put that sphere around the earth. It doesn't touch the light grid either. So it was agreed upon, the universe, that it's now time to put this thing in, and maybe some people will tap into it. And I told him some experiences I've had, which I'll leave for another show. And he said, oh, you tapped into the sphere. I'm like, what sphere? And then so that's when he explained it. That's how things kind of come up. He won't tell me everything, but if there is context or if there's a contextual evidence of it, then he'll say it. That's divine feminine.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a beautiful anecdote also. My spiritual awakening, Jumalo, play a really important role. I became familiar with his work by probably 2008. I saw an interview that he was speaking about the Kogi and the Maya. And well, I'm from Colombia, so I was really interested in what he was saying because I knew that we as being raised in a Western mental paradigm, going back to that root of the indigenous people was really important to enter that sacred space of the heart, kind of to going back to the origin, going back to the heart. I remember then attending to his Secret of the Flower of Life seminars, and he was speaking that when the baby is conceived, the first thing that emerges is the heart, and from the heart emerges the tongue. That is really how the pineal gland gets activated. And that really resonated with me. So I started to read all his work and become more and more familiar with the tools that he was offering, like the meditations of the Merkaba. And it was later in 2010 when I was reading, actually I arrived here to Mexico reading his book, The Serpent of Light, when he was speaking about the activations of the Mayan temples. And I was reading the books and coming to visit the temples with the first time with that consciousness of, oh, I'm going to go to those same sites that he visited. And I knew that when I heard the message from Jose Arguelles, I knew that the two were connected somehow, because the impact that both of them made in my consciousness was so deep. And later, by studying the Tolkien and studying everything related to time, I came to a realization that the flower of life was to space what the Tolkien was to time, and that space is measure. We relate to space in a very masculine way because it's square meters and everything is squared. But the time is more feminine. Time is a spiral, so or a circle, and it's really difficult for the logical mind to tap into the irrationality of us, of the number pi or the golden number phi, because they are infinite. So it's really difficult for that rational mind to come to terms to that. But at the end, the numbers that are embedded into the flower of life and into the Tolkien are the same. We have 19 spheres embedded into that flower of life, with 2 around, which adds to 21, which is basically the same cosmology of the Tolkien. There is 20 solar seals that are based on the 0 to 19 code, because the Maya used to count the 0. So we count 1 to 20. They will counting 0 to 19. And there is one spirit that connects it all, which is Hunabku, the one giver of movement and measure, what we were speaking before. So there we have the 21, the 0, the 19, and the 20 and the 21 in these two matrices, divine matrices. One kind of the entry point to understanding all the geometries of space, and the second one to really enter the geometries of time. And then over the next years, I had that experience that because Jose Arguelles used to make emphasis that our consciousness is so mechanized because we everything is clockwise. It's going to the right, which is the masculine side of things, and time is really moving to the left. Is feminine. It's that spiral movement that is more gentle and is less evident, more subtle. And that's why all the tools that are presented in the Solkin, we read them east to west or right to left, counterclockwise. So kind of the rebalancing of that masculine and feminine in that matrix of consciousness that is the time-space matrix, or some people still perceive it as space-time, because we are still very much into the 3D material world, but we forgot that there is another subtle dimension, that is the fourth dimension, that is time, that is feminine. And the like in every sacred geometry formation that we see in nature, we also always see spirals going to the right and spirals going to the left. And I think that we are entering into that balance. Finally, our consciousness, our planetary consciousness, is really making that shift from being governed only by that masculine patriarchal energy to really opening up to the feminine. That's why we see more female leaders in the world emerging, and that's kind of my connection to what you were speaking, because we are in this experience of being humans and evolving with the earth, and sometimes we as men forget that we have this feminine side that we need to get in touch with, and that we need to really connect at a deeper level. So to finish that, I want to invite you to speak a little bit about that sacred space of the heart, because that's another powerful experience that I live with the School of the Flower of Life, and how that is kind of that still point between the masculine and the feminine, where everything is just in perfect balance. This is that still point of consciousness, and how can we enter that sacred space of the heart? How can we really experience that?
That's basically the heart is it's not a pump, and you probably saw this too. They've even seen this in science, or a biologist that actually unwrapped the heart, and it's a spiral. So really, the heart is essentially, in that sense, is not a pump. Something is pumping the heart, right? So it's flipping it. It's the mirror image, because so there's a sacred space in there, and where that still point that you had mentioned, that's also known as the 0 point. There's nothing. We perceive it as nothing. So because everything is mirror, it means there's everything in there. Our logical mind cannot wrap around that. That's why you have to go on that inner journey and find out for yourself. And I love this type of conversation, because it is very transformational. Just because you asked it, you invited it, so then the answer comes. Ask it, and so shall ye receive. That's how it goes. So when you ask something from inside your heart, you will receive. And then, because if you attune yourself daily to practicing that, you'll know what subtle energies are coming in that you can actually follow, instead of your logical mind telling you not to go there, right? That the mentality of, oh, don't look at, there's nothing to see here, right? They say that for a reason. There's something there. So basically, spend time in that tiny space. So inside the heart is everything inside the physical heart is sacred, but there's a tinier space in there that's tied to all of the cosmos, as well as the akashic. So all the records are there.
I think we lost your audio there briefly again, Kumara. Let's tune that one in.
Can you hear me again?
Yep, you're back. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Yeah, this is really strange. I haven't used this platform for many years, but anyways, back to it. What was I saying? So
The daily practice.
the daily practice
Yes.
of going in, even if it's just like, or even if you don't, if you can actually convince yourself out of it, but at the same, under the same side of the same token, the other side of the same token, you can say, I have a minute on the top of the hour to just breathe. Breathe 5 deep breaths. That's an intention. So that's how I make my coffees here. I'm known for my coffees in Edmonton here, because when I make them, I stir it, I swirl it, and then people say, this, how do you make it taste so good? I said, I put intention into it. The first ingredient is love. Without condition. I'm just doing it in the moment. So that's part of the recipe when I cook, when I fix my car, when I do anything, when I set up a studio on the fly, right? Because I've never done this one before, the setup, right? Because I was excited, right? I was looking forward to it throughout the day, and I was busy, but I was still present in my work, my day job. But then I'm ever present when I'm here. I know when to turn off the day job. So every moment is sacred. It means it's life-giving. You give life to yourself by finding the inner joy. So again, it's feeling, right? And that feeling generates a vibration. It's not only a wave. I'm going off memory here. This is when it comes to scalar wave. You send off scalar waves as well. It's not only a toroid. It's something that really, something I see in visions, and then you will actually have your own visions. And I don't. It's not my place to convince anybody, but it's my responsibility to share with those who are open, right? So when we keep ourselves open and also at the same time discerning, it's good to question, right? Yeah, so it's observancy. So the brain processes, the heart knows. Yeah. So our brain is a processor. And our brain and heart together, it expands outside our body. And that's why people can feel it, what your mood is when you enter the room. Or there's certain people who enter the room, it's like a light came on when the mood was dark. They just had to enter. They didn't say a word. All of a sudden, things are bright.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Are there more slides in there?
Bright thoughts. Bright thoughts. Well, what I was going to share, bright thoughts. I was going to share the actual imagery that was in this slide presentation. We want to pull that up real quick because it actually takes us to this.
Yes.
And this is the gift of this moment, to reflect on this beautiful animation. But walk us through this as we look at these tetrahedrons.
So the tetrahedron, we're seeing it in different angles. You have two 3-sided faces, one facing up, which is male, one facing down, the blue one, female. They're interlocked. Now, what we're seeing now, it's starting, the female is moving counterclockwise. That's facing down, the blue one, while the red one is moving clockwise. Just like what Ruben had mentioned, the directional field of female is counterclockwise. And it actually, basically, it's counterclockwise, and it goes like this. It's like down like a drain, and then the male is clockwise.
We lost your volume again.
Yeah. Hello? Am I-
You're back.
Yeah, and it gets weak really quickly. But anyways, now it spins really fast. The more that you practice, you can create the spin and generate a field around you. It's a magnetic field. It's actually, we are electromagnetic beings. And that still point in the center of those two star tetrahedrons spinning at opposite directions causes that implosion point. That's that void space. That's in our heart.
Wow.
That's where it starts. So from there, you can ascend it. So when you're practicing Kundalini, it's like when you take a deep breath in. I can do visuals and all that stuff, but I like explaining it too. When you breathe in, you breathe into your lungs and down to the core of the earth, while the core of the earth is giving you energy and love, and you continue it up to Father's Son, because he's our collective father. And it's so when you breathe out, collective father brings energy down from the cosmos, down to our root, down to Mama Earth, and back up through our body and out through the mouth. That's why I say in through the nose, out through the mouth. And so this slide that he's showing now, that's the Merkaba, that's the two star tetrahedrons. And that little still point is bright, bright golden, right? So I take people through a journey where I encourage them to, and if they can't visualize, just know the consciousness or what gold is. That's all they need to know. When they have a perfect balance of the spin, that's their light body. It starts to activate, and you can actually generate out about at least 60 meters in radius. That's why you can feel certain people if they've done a lot of inner work and they enter the room, you're feeling their Merkaba. The thing to do now, Dravelo said, is ask for the higher consciousness to come in and trust in that. And then after that, go into your heart, and then ask for the new Merkaba. That's the new thing. I said, can I say that? He goes, yeah, tell him. I'm like, okay. So it's the new Merkaba. I would actually create a new slide. This slide was probably created maybe 10 years ago or more. But the new one, it's going to probably look similar, but quite different because we're seeing it in a two-dimensional photograph, right? So the star tetrahedron that was spinning, that gives you a good representation because you can actually see the third three dimension, right? And like what Ruben said, the fourth dimension will automatically open up, and that's the divine feminine, or Mother Spirit, I call. And she guides us really well. I feel like I was guided. That was not fluke that I missed the pole 5 days ago.
No.
Going from, everyone was going fast, and there was a lot of spray, the trucks, and it was a snowstorm. It was a freak snowstorm that caught us. And it looked like a war zone when they finally pulled out my car. I couldn't believe how many cars I've seen on the side. But you can actually place Merkabas on certain things. So if you're going to step onto a plane, you can install it. But when you step off the plane, you got to uninstall it, because we're not allowed to influence other people's realities as well, because of free will, right?
Yeah.
I imagine your car was spinning counterclockwise with the
energetically. Because I was letting it out, and it's something told me, let the car go where it wants to. But my logical mind said, but that's not a very good place to be driving into, a ravine. Well, that's where it wanted to go, so I followed it with the steering wheel.
Wow.
And looking back, I thought, I think that's why it didn't flip over. because it was moving forward, right? So if I had turned, it would have flipped because we're all going fast. I was going with the flow of traffic. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, this life is wild. Oh, I lost you now. Can you hear me?
No. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah,
Okay,
here I am.
okay.
I was going to say one thing I want to, because this is all related, and I know you've
Yeah.
also been doing a lot of work in water and consciousness in that way. And I know maybe
Yes.
you can elaborate on how that does relate to this moment and why that's important.
Well, divine flow, it's like nature shows us what true reality is. So when you see, there you go, where and an example of water, divine feminine, going down a stream or a gushing river, it'll go into eddies. Sometimes it'll spin in a pool for a while and then it leaves. And it doesn't mean for it to stay for a year, 2 minutes. It's like guys call it random. Divine flow is universal intentionals, I call it, right? And then that divine flow actually creates transformation. It can transform a rock that's been jagged into a round pebble or a marble, right? Then it's transformed. Like the beat of the universe is all about change. That's the only thing that's constant is change. And that's why when we're resistant to change, therein lies imbalance, right? So when we cause imbalance within ourselves, we'll cause different dis-eases, right? And that's why a dis-ease can exacerbate other dis-eases, right? If you think negative, I've known, and it's no judgment to them, but I've been observing how people think of themselves, and if they are low on themselves, whether they're conscious or not of it, they're sickly. They get tired easy. They're constantly having colds, even though they could put a mask on of joy, but their bodies show the truth, right? So diseases are not placed upon us. It's all about what do we allow into our space, especially the inner heart space, right? Many hearts have turned to stone, and those they take a little bit longer to get malleable again. So I've had some students who've come. The one-on-ones are really good for me because I can really work with them. The group ones are great because there's a collective field that actually starts to generate, and even skeptical ones start to feel something. They're like, what is that? And that's the beauty. So I'm always looking, what's the beauty in one-on-ones? What's the beauty in group effort? There's always a positive spin on. You can put a positive spin on something. And it doesn't mean that you are glossing over what hurt you, right? And it's okay to acknowledge it, but not to wallow in it.
Yeah.
It's just like when a mother says, it's okay, you hurt I'll kiss your wound, right? Now stand up and walk again, right? I'm not going to put you in a wheelchair just because you hurt your elbow. So, so it's being mindful of self too, right? Being mindful in the moment, and really, it's all about the information that actually is flowing in and making a very intelligent decision around it. It's all moment to moment. And these are just images, like when I put people through like a heart imagery, it's like a blue cloud exercise. There's different exercises. There's some
Okay, we lost you again briefly there, audio wise.
back.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. And then it fades again, and it comes in and out. But anyway,
All right.
so This one is more the nature. So there's different ones.
I love this image, by the way.
Yeah. And look to the stars, right?
Mm-hmm. Love it.
It's okay to look up into space. Like, in the parts where I live, we have the Aurora Borealis, also known as the Northern Lights. Beautiful. If you're ever up here, you can actually sing to them, and they dance. It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. my friend, a friend of mine, Zach, he said, like, we watched it one time. It was intense a few months ago, and I whistled to it. He goes, "No, don't whistle," because our people, the native people, they say don't do that. I'm like, why not? He goes, because they can take you away. You'll get lifted up. I'm like, well, why wouldn't I want them to lift me up? And then he started whistling. He's like, that's so cool.
That's
And
true.
it started to like come towards us. Like it was like a waterfall. It went like this. And lots of colors.
Let me ask
So
you this. When
yes.
we think about the plasma, what we're talking about, the
Yes.
plasma and the interplay of the plasma on the Earth's outer atmosphere, right? We see as the
Mhm.
auroras. Isn't that consciousness? It seems to
Yes.
me that the plasmas are conscious beings. So
They are.
if you are interacting with them, they're likely to respond to you.
Well, yeah. Well, there are plasma ships, just
Mm.
like I had mentioned Carlos Diaz before we went on air here.
Yeah.
My Spanish is very very jagged, but I was able to converse a little bit, and he showed some of the stuff that the ships that would actually land in his backyard for now. Oh, by now almost 40 years
Okay.
of constant interaction. There's more activity down there, but I remember interacting with Paul Hellyer. Have you heard of him?
The name is familiar.
He wrote the Money Mafia book.
Okay.
But anyways, he had a high position in the Canadian government. He's not with us anymore. When I interacted with him, he said, "Yeah, you know what? In 1960, I think 65, he was invited to come to Alberta, and they unveiled privately a landing pad for extraterrestrials. It's somewhere here in Alberta."
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're not alone. If we think that we're the only intelligent beings on Earth, that's not a very intelligent thing to think of, right? We have to honor all life, right? All of it. So they're finding more and more creatures, animals, life systems in the water, right? In the oceans. It's endless. So you've probably seen this old graph where you could see where the human sits on this round graph, and then you on the other side there's a giraffe, and then there's an ant, and there's a bee, and then they all have different, slightly. It's almost like a dialect, but really manifested in a body, whatever that might be. If it's an insect or a biped or four-legged creature, whatever, right? Or the wingeds. Yeah.
Incredible, brother. It's true. We're not alone, and there are many, many, many mystical mysteries yet to be experienced, for sure.
Yeah. And I encourage all of us, just be a loving being, right? Because can you imagine if we were to travel to another planet and all they did was bomb each other and then bomb us? Why would we want to land on that place?
Facts.
Yeah, and actually, Dr. Ozarway always mention that these plasma energies that swirl the poles of the Earth, they are supposed to be the raw material to create this structure called the circumpolar rainbow bridge, which is the light body of the Earth, which we see also in many traditions, ancient traditions, that they speak about the rainbow body and how it's basically our light body when it gets activated. So the more we make conscious connection with these swirling energies at the poles, we can actually help the Earth to structure that light body. And in doing that, we structure our own light body. So it's certainly one of my dreams to go to Canada or Alaska or some of these places and really witness this, because we speak here about it, but one thing is to speak it and one very different is to live it. So I really hope and trust that the future will give us the opportunity to visit you in Canada and have that opportunity to connect with this consciousness and these incredible colors that the Earth is giving us such a gift with all these different phenomena, like the passing of the seasons. This is just a miracle, and we take it for granted.
Mm-hmm.
But this type of events, like the northern lights and the southern lights, the aurora borealis and the aurora australis, they are so unique to the people who live in those areas of the Earth. So it's such a gift that you have the opportunity to experience that.
Come, and we'll party.
Of course.
And we can create an event. Hey, why not?
A tea party.
Yeah.
Golden
Tea party. Yeah. Yeah.
So, brother,
invitation, I will certainly take it sooner.
Okay, we got to keep in touch. We got to do it. This is our alchemy. 126148113.
That's right. There you go. And so we're looking forward to, as I mentioned before we went on air, if there's a possibility that you will be with us in person in Palenque, as we announced softly last week that we are on the planning for hosting an in-person event to honor and ground and commemorate the golden intersection of timelines. And this runs in concurrence with International Indigenous Peoples Day throughout the Americas, both on October 12 and 13. So it's a very auspicious window, feels profound, and it would be an amazing honor to have you there participating and holding ceremonial space, blessing us with a tea ceremony there in Palenque. I
intend to be there.
Certainly invite that reality to happen. And none of this is by coincidence, of course. Everything is synchronized. And so we deeply appreciate love who you are as you've shown up on the planet at this time. Thank you so much for your service to humanity, to the star nations, and to everyone in between. We truly receive that and give great thanks for your presence, brother.
Yeah. And where can people learn more about your work? And we would love to share those links in the chat and here on the broadcast.
Oh, okay. I didn't get any prepared. It's been a while since I actually opened my website. But
a YouTube channel or any social media?
I have social media. I'm under Red Bear Russo. Russo is my first name. I've been using my middle name Kumara since that time of Unify.
Exactly.
And it was prophecy from my auntie. She said, "Don't use your first name. Please use your middle name." I'm like, I like my first name. She said, "Just give it a month, please. You'll have magic in your life if you do." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And then she said, "Just give it a month." And I did. And everything changed. Our names that we carry emit a vibration.
May I ask, what's the meaning of your name, Kumara?
In Sanskrit, it means apparently prince. Not princely like as we know it in this world. It's more a carrier of light. That's
indeed. I think we lost your mic there a little bit. Frequency tuning. We knew we would do this on this episode.
Exactly. Yeah.
There we are.
And so I don't know if it'll stay, but
it's good. It's perfect. Yeah. And Ishel did put, for folks tuning in the live chat, Ishel put a link to your Instagram page.
Awesome. Thank you, Ishel.
Yeah. And also, I know currently you just started this 30-day opportunity call it
Yes.
challenge, whatever we want to
Yeah.
call it. Is it too late for people to become involved in
No.
that? Okay, so maybe we can
No.
put some information there as well in the description. Or
Yes.
how would you recommend people who might be interested in getting involved in the meditation get involved?
I put in I was inspired. I usually do things for like FREE.
Right.
There's usually there I've actually tried something new, is to put an honorarium. It's a suggested honorarium of 111, and I actually tied it. So when I go to Africa in September, I intend to help the children directly, and I not to take over, but help them be their sovereign soul expression. Whereas, please,
Tune in again.
how do these children, and how is the succession from their lineage? What's the tradition? So I have something to learn from them.
Mm-hmm.
How can we each other? It's not me coming in being high and mighty. It's like, no, I'm coming humbly. So if because they do a lot of trade, and that's what the spirit of Ubuntu means. I am because of who we are.
Yes.
You are because of who I am. So because I am something, you are something. So that's like it's namaste. It's in Lakesh, right?
Mm.
So that's a
Exactly.
it's a very ancient way of being. And when you create abundance from the things that you love to do, whether you are a sower, a fisherman, a hunter, a basket weaver, you create abundance. You trade it with those who are expressing their own gift, right?
Exactly.
It's the same thing. So we just need more Ubuntu, more in Lakesh, more Namaste in the world.
Yeah.
And that's how we do it.
And sacred reciprocity, obviously,
Yes.
as well.
Yeah.
Shout out to Antoinette Root's daughter and Pato Bantan
Yes.
for their Ubuntu efforts and work, the ongoing important work of those amazing souls. So shout out to them. And
Yes.
absolutely. And so we'll make sure to put a link in the show description for how people can follow up for more information about the 30-day meditation opportunity that I've, as I said, Ishel and I have gotten involved with this. I'm excited. And even the description you provided in tonight's show answered the question that I had previously of asking you, is there any description of the meditation so that when we're engaged in it, I can feel a little bit more coherent or clear. But I'm oriented to it. I got it. I got what I asked for.
Visuals are very powerful.
Yeah, very helpful.
And I'm developing my throat chakra. Since I was a kid, I didn't speak much. So it's actually attuning to the energy, and that's what's been helping me to communicate in a way that it's deep. It's not surface level.
Yeah.
Because the deeper we go, because it's endless. You can go as deep as you want, and it doesn't end. There is no stop. Right? There's no end stop. It just keeps going. We're infinite beings.
Facts.
Yeah. So I will put something together so that people can either, reach me on Facebook, Instagram, maybe a particular post, even just as simple as I put a little website together that one of my other shifus, which is Drenvalo's like a business advisor, Danielle. I'd like to make a shout out to him. He's the lead and founder of the School of the Heart out of Cyprus.
Okay.
And his wife Agati is one of the senior founding members of Heart Math. So they work together.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I was thinking about heart math and the heart coherence and the mind, the brain, heart connection, and that whole thing as we've been discussing this tonight. So certainly encouraging people to learn more about heart math as well as another way to get insight as to how we can entrain ourselves, get into greater coherence with that general field of earth coherence. Very, very important at this time.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And if anyone, if you or anyone's interested in going to Africa with me and my little team, I think I got like 3 spots left. We're maxing it out to 12.
Amazing. And that'll be a trip happening in November, is it?
In September 1st to the 12th.
Okay, that's right. Okay, so
Yeah.
then we'll see you in Palenque. So once you'll come there
Yes.
with that energy. Fantastic. And where in the continent of Africa will you be visiting?
South Africa.
Okay.
Go to land in Joburg, rest overnight, and then take a 3-hour bus ride to an end stop that it doesn't go any further. Then my friend Louise has to pick us up 45 minutes away and bring us to the property of 10,000 acres.
Amazing.
Yeah, you can walk all over the place by yourself if you want. There's no predators around there.
Wow.
Yeah, 10,000 acres.
And this is the land that's on is this part of the land that's on a crystal grid?
Yes.
Okay, that's...
Yes. Due north, 0 degrees, is up on the north side are the Giza pyramids.
Okay.
Yeah. It's connected to Palenque as well.
Yeah.
I think it's 66 degrees or something like that. It's all encoded. It's amazing. That's Adam's calendar.
Okay, Adam's calendar. Yeah, we'll have to explore that on a future episode here. I think that's a great subject to get into as well.
Oh, yeah.
Certainly, my brother, it's been a fantastic time sharing with you. Thank you so much, from our hearts to yours. Thank you to everybody out there tuning in for this special broadcast tonight. We're going to go away for a moment. We'll come right back, but certainly encouraging everybody out there tuning in to follow up with our dear brother Kumara and his important work. And shout out to the place you're currently in right now. I know you serve this amazing shop there on the weekends. Give us the name of it.
It's called Clarity, CLAIR-I-T, because there's a lot of clairvoyants who work out of here.
Okay.
We have tarot readers and we have palm readers.
Wow.
We even study, there's an astrologer here who does human design and the gene keys.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on in here. We do events. I do crystallography for the children or even adults as well. I have the men's group that happens here every second Thursday, and this coming Thursday I host it again. So it's every 2 weeks. Yeah.
Amazing. Shout out to Edmonton. Edmonton got it going on, huh? You guys got a lot.
Yes.
I love that.
Come, yeah, and Matthew Crozel is going to be here soon.
Amazing.
Yeah, Tibetan throat singer or cosmic throat singer.
Absolutely. Amazing. Yeah. Well, this is fantastic, my brother. Thank you so much for your presence, and thanks for spending some time with us. We really appreciate that. We'll tap in with you real soon.
Okay, sounds good. Lots of love.
In Lakesh.
In Lakesh.
Absolutely fantastic. What an amazing sharing. Big love to our dear brother Kumara for being with us in this moment. And, as we're navigating this, again, the question arises, what is it not for us to do, but who is it we are to become as we make this journey, this spiral journey inward? It's clear that the journey is inward, because if anything is to truly change, it's going to happen from within. There's a lot of distraction, a lot of noise on the external. All the systems are shifting. Everything is subject to change anyway. So we see change taking great shape across the planet. And yet I feel something is calling us to be that still point. We're being called to be that witness, that still point at this time, to not react, but to truly respond from the heart. So as we make this journey toward this portal to cosmic harmony, here we are. So what's next? The golden intersection of timelines, very much alive on the timeline. As we know, October 14th, we will reach the Indigenous Maya long count marker of 13.0.13.0.0. Now that's exquisite in its perfection, because it's marking the node of harmonic resonance that's occurring in such a powerful, powerful moment and opportunity for us as a family of humanity. And particularly when we look at the fact that for the past several centuries, we've been guided and led by, on some accounts, what could be regarded as a certain broken masculinity. When we look at the efforts to exact control and domination over the world's cultures, when we look at what's espoused and promoted through the Gregorian calendar, for example, it's amazing that we're arriving at a moment as a human conscious collective, in addition to the star nations participating with us, watching, observing, holding space for what we're going to choose. Let's remember, this is all about our choice right now. So as we reach that marker when the Gregorian calendar hits 443 years, how do we choose to show up to that moment? And I think something Kumara was sharing with us, it's exceedingly important, is to embody unconditional love.
Yeah.
And by doing that, it doesn't make the actions of anyone wrong or right. It's not about that. It's about holding the space that the course correction that we all seek can naturally emerge. We don't want to get in the way of it. We want to invite it. And I think he spoke about allowing the energy at this time, being receptive. So as opposed to forcing and pushing and coercing or manipulating all the things that we, as a masculine-driven world culture, have been prone to do, we haven't known much else. We've shut off the other instincts for the most part. But at this moment, we're being invited to go within and, I would say, reactivate those most precious parts of ourselves from within. This is certainly an inside job underway. And as he was speaking to the fact that this is all about our inner standing. So it's not above or below, as that indicates, or understanding or overstanding indicates a separation, whereas the inner standing is the real theme of this moment. And so just to bring to people's awareness where we are literally in the count up, we find ourselves 197 days to October 14th, 2025 right now. So I know that Kumara has invited a 30-day, and could be longer, 6 months even, for this tapping in. We certainly want to encourage anybody out there who's resonating with the invitation to step into the field, go within, and do that in collaboration with others. Do that in a connection, a heart-based connection with others who are endeavoring to do the same thing at this time, because time is now clearly for that to happen. Let's make sure to pop Ruben in this image. Saw the spiral up there in the corner, like that was mesmerizing.
I'm listening because you were saying, you were bringing such a good synthesis of what we were discussing today, and sharing, really, more than discussing, because this is really a kaleidoscope of consciousness, where every piece and every word is a part of that kaleidoscope. And here we are, 197 days to the golden intersection of timelines, and really bringing all that wisdom contained within the sacred geometry of space and the sacred geometry of time. Let's remember that number 13, that milestone of the long count, the 13.0.13.0.0. 13 is the feminine number. So that's why it was banished from consciousness and declared the number of years, and it's a bad luck number. And here we are arriving to that threshold of those two numbers, 13, that are part of that golden spiral. It's the seventh step of the spiral, when we start counting from 0 to 13. In each of these 7 steps along that spiral leads to that number. So the purpose here is to really connect with that frequency, because even though it's just numbers, they carry a frequency, like we were saying, and we carry that frequency in our temple. Our temple is very feminine also, and we treat it in a very masculine way. We don't respect the how delicate we are, how fragile we are, and we tend to in that drive of the masculine, we tend to step over that fragility and really not nurture ourselves enough. So this, now that we are starting this new 260-day cycle, and we are tapping into the dragon energy of the cosmic mother, we have the opportunity to really be receptive and give thanks, give back to that mother energy, that cosmic mother that is holding us all, and that is bringing us either consciously or unconsciously to this point of convergence in the timelines. And it's such an honor to have this conversation today with Brother Kumara and tap into his understanding of what we are doing here on Earth in terms of bringing back that balance. Because even though we three are men, we are really rebalancing that charge. This is only a vessel, but we hold both the masculine and the feminine. And the more we tap into natural time, the more we develop that feminine energy and that ability to travel in time and break the boundaries of this matrix that we have been really imprisoned in the material, the 3D, the solid matter, and we tap into that energy that is stored in the heart, at that sacred tiny spot in the heart. So this is an invitation to everyone who are tuning in to really go tonight into their hearts and into that tiny space where all this reality, according to Drumbalu, is the source of this entire projection. So it's all coming from us, through us. So trust that flow and trust that source that is inside our hearts.
Beautifully said. We're also excited to know that the next 26 episodes are going to help us presence a greater sense of our alignment with the Cosmic Mother as we approach that alignment also with Galactic Center and that resonance at 13 tunes since December 21st, 2012. Along with this, as I mentioned, that week, that timing around which the Golden Intersections is placed is preceded by the observance throughout Latin America of Indigenous Peoples Day, October 12th, and then in the United States, October 13th, will be regarded by many people as Indigenous Peoples Day, even though it's declared Columbus Day by the U.S. government. But with that said, we are making the intentional shift, wrapping up this moon of intention and shifting into the moon of manifestation to deliberately place the mother at the center and presence that conversation in relationship with the indigenous worldview from all of our cultures of the world. And one of those cultures, very significant, we'll have a representative of next episode, which I'm very excited to share. We're going to welcome a brother by the name of King Etznab Shaquan El Rey, who is a descendant of the Olmec She clan Nubun lineage and bloodline. And he's gone to great lengths to do his own recapitulation, his own research into the reclaiming of his rights and the rights associated with who he is on the basis of his genealogy, which is profound. And when we talk about the mother culture, we're talking about the culture that actually influenced the Maya. We're talking about the cultures that influenced the Aztec, influenced the Toltec. Okay. So, and there is a lot of controversy around this subject because the revelation of truth is inconvenient to the world structure that would otherwise
Mm-hmm.
deny the truth.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, not just deny it, but suppress it violently. So it's important for us to bring this to the surface, because in this process of healing, we have to have revealing.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the revealing is to help get us properly oriented to where the stories have been, shall we say, distorted,
Mm-hmm.
on purpose, and for what purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's of such an enormous scale, because it's really been a story that has fooled, if not fooled, certainly misled the majority of the world's peoples.
Yes.
And we're talking about the fact that these stories, when you think of the concept that the history is written by the victors,
Mm-hmm.
we have to consider how far back in this so-called telling of our collective story, how far back do we need to go to course correct?
Mm-hmm.
And so as we look at what is coming upon us in this spiral of time, this harmonic overlay that's before us, there's no coincidence to the fact that 2025 is declared the UN International Year of Indigenous Languages.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about what Kumara just shared with us, many words were spoken, but there was a subtle language also being communicated that transcends our human communication. And that is also arguably an indigenous language. That is a language of the heart. It's the language of telepathy. It's the language of our ability to truly receive and transmit what Earth is giving us to share. Now, many people are receiving various messages of this time that are important for our awareness. We need to bring this, I would say, panorama of information into coherence, into a way that's truly bringing us forward to the future, as opposed to keeping us spinning and cycling through these former choices and decisions and iterations of the world we've manifested up to now. We have a choice point, and we're here at yet another node of our choosing. And so just wanted to mention that as we prepare for this next half of these 26 episodes to go. And I'm really, really grateful for everything that we've been guided to up to this point. I feel like this has been the perfect way to commemorate this halfway mark.
Yes.
And get ourselves, starting with myself and starting with yourself and our team and those closest to us, getting ourselves properly oriented in the heart, so we can move forward with that clarity and coherence.
Yeah. And it's part of that coherence, the fact that Brother Kumar is going to Africa, and that's the source, and it's connected to Palenque and to all the ancient cultures.
Yes.
Even the Dogon people from that area of the world, they speak about how everything has been really positioned in a way to bring that sense of superiority, like the North and the South, the Northern Hemisphere and the Southern Hemisphere. When we live in a infinite universe where there is no up and down, left and right, really, but the sense of positioning one above the other gives a sense of an unreal sense of superiority that is now is part of that rebalancing, and is part of the mystery that is revealing. Because as we progress towards the golden intersection, we will see more hidden aspects of our history. There is also no coincidence that these discoveries in the Giza Plateau are being made right now. We are seeing what is below the surface, and all of that is coming. Some of it will be beautiful, some of it will be not that beautiful, but it's kind of an opportunity to embrace it all, the shadow aspects and the light aspects, so that we can bring that balancing into coherence.
Absolutely. So we want to encourage people in the meantime to certainly visit our petition, as this is the ongoing petition. We intend by October 14th to have 144,000 signatures on this petition. We're quite a ways from that, although we're beginning to really pick up some momentum with our outreach. So we encourage you to visit or scan what you see here, or visit change.org and find the Calendar Referendum Initiative 2028 petition. This is basically to help encourage people to adopt a natural time calendar as their own harmonic standard in their personal life. This is to really bring this to people's awareness as we make conscious, make sacred, and make art. Time is art. So we encourage people to do that if they're so inclined. Thank you so much for that support. And also, again, be sure to visit theharmonicfactor.com, download your version of the current 13 Moon 28-day harmonic synchronometer that we put out. And we'll be coming out with a new edition of this very, very soon as well, for the Yellow Resonant Seed Year that we're soon to be entering in a few moons. So grateful for that. It's no coincidence that the theme for the year is resonant, channel, attunement, intuition. Is that correct? Is that inspire?
Inspire.
Yes. Inspiration. Indeed, like the inspiration of breath and spirit. And that's what we're working with. So
and
thank you.
The flowering of consciousness or awareness, that is the seed.
Absolutely. And I thought it profound that we were really also able to acknowledge and honor Drunvalo Melchizedek in tonight's episode as well, because he certainly has been a big influence on my life and my path in that regard. His works, including The Serpent of Light, as you mentioned, that's a profound book that I found prior to 2012 as well. And it just really, it helped inform a lot and make a lot of sense of things that I had a feeling about, but to hear him articulate it in such clarity and with such deep intent was very, very powerful. So being able to know that he's still very much on the planet, in the mix, and having a great influence, I think even in him being here and working directly with our brother Kumara the way they are, is just so profound and so poignant for the time, because this is the time. And so I'm grateful that he's here. So,
yes.
Yeah. And we give thanks to our team out there. Big up to Ishel and Alejandra, always in the wings, making it happen and holding us accountable, which we appreciate as men on a mission to evolve and return home to the heart. So with that said, we give great thanks and gratitude to all our relatives out there tonight, tapping in all around the world. And thank you. Continue to stay in touch. Be sure to be in touch with Kumara via social media. You'll find that information in the show notes. And stay in your heart, stay in your light, stay the course.
Yes.
All right, everybody. One love in Lakesh.
In Lakesh.
Tune in with the Galactic Spin Podcast and expand your view. Galactic Spin Podcast and expand your view.